Hi everyone, and welcome back to Mission 1820 and this week's episode of Have You Ever Wondered? If you're just joining us, we have been in a series called Books of the Bible, where we've been giving introductions into each book of the Bible in just 5 minutes or less. So, without further ado, let's get to this week's book. We are in the book of Ezra. This is the 15th book of the Bible. Now, it's also the 10th of the 12 books in the Old Testament that we've come to know as the historical books. The writing of the book is devoted to the events that have been occurring in the land of Israel at the time that the exiles returned from their Babylonian captivity, and also includes the years following that. Now, Ezra continues the Old Testament narrative that we found in 2 Chronicles by showing how God fulfills his promise to return his people back to the promised land after their 70 years of captivity. The book of Ezra also relates the story of 2 returns from Babylon. Now, the first was led by Zerubbabel to rebuild the temple, which was completed in 516 BC. The second was under Ezra to rebuild the spiritual condition of the people. The author of the book is not specifically stated in the text, but as normal, Jewish tradition holds the author to be Ezra. Now, this could be true because the author does switch from writing in the third person to begin writing in the first person, beginning in the 7th chapter. Now, the book was written between 460 and 440 BC, and it's been recording the events from 538 to about 450 BC. The book itself can be divided into 2 parts. The first being the restoration of the temple. This is covered in chapters 1 through 6. This is the restoration of the temple that was done by Zerubbabel with the first return of roughly 50,000 exiles. It covers 22 years from 538 to 516 BC. The second part, this is the reformation of the people. This is covered in chapters 7 through 10. This relates Ezra's restoration of the temple, as well as the spiritual, moral, and social restoration of the returned remnant of the 1,700 exiles back to the promised land. This covers just about a year from 458 to 457 BC. Some of the key places in the book basically just include Babylon and Jerusalem. You're also going to read about the main players of the book. They're going to include Zechariah, Zerubbabel. You read about Haggai, Ezra, as well as King Artaxerxes I. Although Ezra, he's not one of the most widely known people in the Bible, he did, however, play a key role in the spiritual health of the Jewish people, as he spent his life as a priest, serving the Israelites during their Babylonian exile and as they returned to the promised land of Jerusalem. Ezra encourages us to stand up for our faith. He knew that Moses' law had been neglected by the many during the Jewish exile to Babylon, but he continued to speak boldly for God's law. And though many didn't quite understand his message at the time, through his fervor and his fire, he was finally able to convince them. So now, I hope that this introduction is going to help get you started in the book of Ezra. So God bless, and thanks for watching.